There's also breaking news that President Biden has commuted the death sentences of nearly all inmates on federal death row. Our senior White House correspondent, Selena Wang, has the latest. Good morning, Selena.
Good morning, Rebecca. Just moments ago, President Biden announced he's commuting the sentences of nearly every prisoner on federal death row. Instead of execution, these 37 inmates will now serve life sentences without the possibility of parole. Now, only 3 men will remain on federal death row, including one of the Boston Marathon bombers and 2 mass shooters. President Biden's actions today will prevent the incoming Trump administration from carrying out execution sentences for those 37 individuals. Trump has vowed not only to reinstate the death penalty, but to expand its use. As a devout Catholic, President Biden believes that the death penalty should only be used in cases of terrorism and hate-motivated mass murder. The White House is signaling this morning that there could be more clemency to come in the few weeks.
President Joe Biden on Monday announced that he is commuting the sentences of 37 of the 40 people on federal death row, converting their punishments to life imprisonment just weeks before President-elect Donald Trump, an outspoken proponent of expanding capital punishment, takes office. The move spares the lives of people convicted in killings, including the slayings of police and military officers, people on federal land, and those involved in deadly bank robberies or drug deals, as well as the killings of guards or prisoners in federal facilities. The decision leaves 3 federal inmates to face execution. They are Dylan Roof, who carried out the 2015 racist slayings of 9 black members of Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, 2013 Boston Marathon bomber Jakar Tsarnaev, and Robert Bowers, who fatally shot 11 congregants at Pittsburgh's Tree of Life Synagogue in 2018, the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history. Bidwin stated, "I've dedicated my career to reducing violent crime and ensuring a fair and effective justice system," Biden said in a statement. "Today, I am commuting the sentences of 37 of the 40 individuals on federal death row to life sentences without the possibility of parole. These commutations are consistent with the moratorium my administration has imposed on federal executions, in cases other than terrorism and hate-motivated mass murder." Reaction was strong, both for and against. A Trump spokesperson called the decision abhorrent. "These are among the worst killers in the world, and this abhorrent decision by Joe Biden is a slap in the face to the victims, their families, and their loved ones," said Trump spokesman Stephen Chung. President Trump stands for the rule of law, which will return when he is back in the White House after he was elected with a massive mandate from the American people. Heather Turner, whose mother was killed during the 2017 robbery of a Conway, South Carolina, bank, blasted the decision in a social media post, saying Biden didn't consider the victims of these crimes. "The pain and trauma we have endured over the last 7 years has been indescribable," Turner wrote on Facebook, describing weeks spent in court in search of justice as now just a waste of time. "Our judicial system is broken. Our government is a joke," she said. Joe Biden's decision is a clear gross abuse of power. He and his supporters have blood on their hands. Some of Roof's victims supported Biden's decision to leave him on death row. Michael Graham, whose sister Cynthia Hurd was killed by Roof, said Roof's lack of remorse and simmering white nationalism in the U.S. means Roof is the kind of dangerous and evil person the death penalty is intended for. The Biden administration in 2021 announced a moratorium on federal capital punishment to study the protocols used, which suspended executions during Biden's term. But Biden actually had promised to go further on the issue in the past, pledging to end federal executions without the caveats for terrorism and hate-motivated mass killings. While running for president in 2020, Biden's campaign website said he would work to pass legislation to eliminate the death penalty at the federal level and incentivize states to follow the federal government's example. Similar language didn't appear on Biden's re-election website before he left the presidential race in July. "Make no mistake, I condemn these murderers, grieve for the victims of their despicable acts, and ache for all the families who have suffered unimaginable and irreparable loss," Biden's statement said. "But guided by my conscience and my experience as a public defender, chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee, vice president, and now president, I am more convinced than ever that we must stop the use of the death penalty at the federal level." He took a political jab at Trump, saying, "In good conscience, I cannot stand back and let a new administration resume executions that I halted." Trump, who takes office on January 20th, has spoken frequently of expanding executions. In a speech announcing his 2024 campaign, Trump called for those caught selling drugs to receive the death penalty for their heinous acts. He later promised to execute drug and human smugglers and even praised China's harsher treatment of drug peddlers. During his first term as president, Trump also advocated for the death penalty for drug dealers. Directly from Biden, listen to his reasoning for doing this.
Welcome back. President Joe Biden has granted executive clemency to all but 3 of the country's death row inmates. As Erica Brown reports, it reduces their sentences to life without the possibility of parole and gives them immunity to President-elect Trump's promise to resume federal executions.
President Biden once was a strong proponent of the federal death penalty and wrote legislation to expand it.
I am not Mr. Soft on crime. I'm the guy that put these death penalties in this bill.
But 4 years ago, he campaigned to end it and paused federal executions when he became president.
One of the reasons I'm against capital punishment is, we have confirmed there's at least 195 cases since 1972 that the person who was convicted and about to be put to death was innocent.
Now, with less than a month left in his term, Biden said, in good conscience, I cannot stand back and let a new administration resume executions that I halted. President-elect Trump promised to restore the federal death penalty during his campaign. A Trump spokesman calls Biden's decision abhorrent and said Trump will restore the rule of law when he takes office next month. Civil rights groups are cheering Biden's decision.
Our society is better as a result of it.
Sister Barbara Batista of the Sisters of Providence routinely visits many of those newly granted clemency at the federal penitentiary in Terre Haute, Indiana.
Saying to a person, yes, you've done a terrible thing. You deserve a certain type of punishment, but to kill them? Who are we? Who are we?
A Gallup poll reveals 53% of Americans support the death penalty for convicted murderers. That's down 10 points in the last decade. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
What do you think? Should these alleged criminals face the execution sentence they were given? Or do agree with Biden and think a sentence of life in prison would be just as sufficient? Don't hesitate. Respectfully speak up in the comments section. Your opinion and perspective very much so matters. Thank you. Like, share, and subscribe.